Hello, all of my lovely friends. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. For those that are new here, my name is Mel and I am a medium and an energy healer. I love to make videos about spirituality, whether that be mediumship, tarot, psychic work, and I hope that you do consider subscribing. For those that are here too, please remember to click the like button and leave a comment, even if it's just to say hi, because it really does help the algorithm help me to reach those that need these videos. In today's video, we're going to be doing a part 4 of questions regarding mediumship. So I receive questions all the time via my YouTube channel or Instagram asking about mediumship, and this is going to be the part 4 of those questions. What I will do is I will timestamp them down below what the questions are so you can get directly to them. I won't make you watch the whole video if you're only looking for one specific question. If I do not answer your question, make sure to check back to the other parts or leave it in the comments down below so that I can answer that one in the next video. Let's get into the questions. I do want to preface that I cover a lot of this information in my mediumship development course. If you are interested in learning how to become a medium, you can sign up for my course on my website, soulcareintuitive.com. I will leave the information for that down below. The first question I have is, how do you raise your vibration to connect to spirit? So for me, this is a little bit of a 50-50 kind of a thing. I believe that we don't necessarily have to raise our vibration in order to connect to spirit. Our spirit lives in this body. We are not the body. We are a spirit in the body, and therefore our spirit is always connected to the spirit world, to the other side, to God, to the universe, however you prefer to call that. And so I do believe that we are always connected. I don't believe that we necessarily have to raise our vibration in order to connect. In the past, I have, because other mentors have said this to me, believed that we have to come up so that they can come down and meet us in the middle. Through my experiences of hundreds, thousands of readings, whether it be mediumship readings or psychic readings, I have discovered that we're always connected. And whether you raise your vibration or not, you can reach a level of connectedness. Now, do I believe that the higher you feel, the better you feel, the happier you are, the easier the connection is going to be? Yes. But even in our lowest states, I've been really sad and depressed. I've gone through things and I've still heard my guides. I've still felt their presence. I've still connected to my father who has passed away, even in my lower moments. So to answer this question, if there are ways to get yourself higher, what are they? How can we get there? For me, it's music. I love to turn on music and just dance and get excited. You can also do meditations because those really calm you down and bring you to a state of peace. And when our head is just filled with ideas and thoughts and bills, and I have to do this and I have to do that, it's harder for you to discern what's coming through in terms of messages from spirit. So meditating really does help to calm your mind, to allow the messages to come in. Something else I like to do is to go for a run. I love to exercise. I probably should do it a lot more, but going for a run really does help boost your energy. You could even go for a walk. Now, I prefer to do those things outdoors because the atmosphere of nature really does calm the body. It helps release those negative ions, and it really does boost your immune system. So going outdoors to run or do some kind of an activity will help you. But those are just a few things. Every person's going to have something different. Maybe you go dancing, okay? So find the thing that makes you feel the happiest and stick with that. But I don't believe that you have to be raising your vibration in order to connect to spirit. We are always connected to spirit. The next question, do you find readings done through Zoom to be less effective than reading in person? No, absolutely not. And that's because there really is no such thing as time or space. And that's really hard to understand in this human body, in this human form, but there really is no such thing as time or space. It's the same concept when I'm doing an energy healing through Reiki. I can send somebody Reiki from where I live in the United States, and they could be in Australia, and they're feeling the Reiki and receiving the Reiki, and I get the same amount of compliments, the same calls about, oh my gosh, this happened, this amazing thing happened, whether I'm in person or at a distance. And the same thing is for mediumship readings. You can do a very effective, very beautiful reading with someone in person and have that same beautiful, connected, amazing reading with someone over Zoom or Google Meet or, over the computer. So you don't have to be right next to the person in order to have an amazing reading. And why is that? We are all, again, spirit in this body. This body is not me. My spirit is in it, and my spirit is connected to the spirit world, the other realms, and therefore I can communicate with those beings in those other realms. I don't have to be right next to the person that I'm reading for. So to answer your question, being on Zoom or being on the computer is just as amazing as being face to face with somebody. I have been struggling with connecting to my son who just passed. Why can't I get a clear channel to them? So this is somewhat difficult because to get that connection, you have to be out of a certain stage of grief. And let me explain that. So when my father passed away, I was grief-stricken for a very long time. And I never wanted to get out of bed. I never wanted to do anything. And I would always cry, Dad, why aren't you talking to me? Why aren't you showing me anything? And it wasn't until later on that I learned that the grief that we feel from the loss of somebody, and you mentioned that this is your child. I'm a mother, and I can understand that that grief couldn't be any worse when you lose a child. And so the grief really does keep you on a lower kind of a level, okay? And I do believe as a spiritual person, as a medium, that our grief is there to protect us from any further damage, you could say. And so it's kind of like a barrier is up when you are just in this state of grief. And I remember after I worked my way through that grief and started feeling a lot better about myself, about life after my dad had died, it really started to open me up to be able to feel what I feel and do the work that I do now. Once I got past the grief of losing him and the grief of not connecting to him, it's like the doors opened and I got communication that I had been asking for and waiting for, but I had to, as a soul, as a person, work through that grief. The grief that we experience here in the physical world is a lesson that we have to get past in order to move up. And I firmly believe that. I firmly believe that we have to sit in our grief and learn from it and process it and not shove it down. The more you shove the grief down or try to push it to the side, the longer it's going to take not only your physical body to heal from that loss, but your spiritual body to, heal itself from that loss as well. So grief is just a way of our body's way to process and heal what has happened to us. And the only way to do it is to do it, to go through it and allow the grief to happen. My suggestion here is to not constantly be asking for communication. This is your time to heal and express this grief. Cry, scream, yell, get in your bed, take a bath. This is your time to allow that grief to express itself. Your son and any family member that you have in spirit will never leave. They will never be gone. When your grief has been processed and you're ready, they will be right there waiting for you to communicate with them. So I don't want you to think that you're going to lose out on time or you're missing out on messages. They know that we have a process. They've been human as well. They know that we have to process our grief and move through our grief in order to, move up and move on. So they will be waiting for you, ready for you, to give you messages, to send you the love that you've been waiting for. You just have to get past that grief. And, again, I have experienced it, so I know it's really difficult to sit there and wait and beg for a message to come. But once you get past that grief, it's like a door opens, a window opens, and you feel not only better in your body and in your soul, but that connection is that much stronger to this person. You know, when we grieve, it means that we really truly loved. And that love and that bond is never going to go away, no matter how far of a distance somebody is from you, or no matter if somebody has passed away and they're not physically here anymore. That love, that bond only gets stronger with time. And just because they have passed away doesn't mean that it's going to be any less strong. So give yourself time to grieve, give yourself time to process, and just know that your son and your loved ones on the other side, they're right there with you, helping you heal and waiting for you. Okay, there's no rush. I have heard other mediums say, do no harm. What does this mean? So it could mean something very different for each medium, but when I see these words, do no harm, for me, it would mean something in relation to ethics. So for example, let's say that I'm giving a reading to my client and the person is spirit committed suicide, and let's say they're showing me how they did this. It could be from a hanging, or maybe they used a gun, okay, whatever they did. But let's say they're showing me this exact moment. For me, I believe do no harm means you don't need to describe everything you're seeing. You don't need to describe what visuals you're getting. Like this person who has lost their loved one to suicide, for example, they already know this, and you don't want to do harm by repeating it and giving them visualizations. You could say something along the lines of, I'm connecting to someone who is telling me they took their own life, and leave it at that. You don't have to add anything else to it. Do no harm. Again, it could be different for other mediums, but for me, it's more of an ethical thing. Don't do harm to them. They've already experienced enough. Just because you see the visual doesn't mean that you have to provide that exact visual to someone who is experiencing a great loss in their life. So do no harm is about ethics. You don't want to provide or say things that are going to cause emotional harm or mental harm for having to relive certain things or go through a traumatic experience all over again. You as the medium have a huge ethical awareness about you, okay? If someone is coming to you for your support, for your connection to their loved one, and you have a huge burden of respect on your shoulders when you're giving a reading, there is very much a powerful aspect to a medium, because people are there to hear from their loved ones, and what you say really does affect them. So you want to choose your words wisely when there's something coming up that's traumatic or something that could possibly affect your sitter. Just because you see it doesn't mean you have to say exactly that. You can make the words fit to where they're not harming the client. How do you get past the fear of spirits? I'm not sure what this question exactly means, but I wonder if you're saying like seeing spirits or like having spirits in your home. So let me go with that. When I first started my mediumship journey, I was so scared to see spirits at the edge of my bed when I woke up. And I used to always watch these mediums on TV or even read tons of books about them. And a lot of them would say that they would wake up and have spirits hanging over their bed, or they'd be walking in the hallways and there's spirits there in the hallways. And it really frightened me. And in the beginning, I was so scared of it. I couldn't sleep. I had to have the lights on. I had to have the TV on. I was scaring myself for literally no reason. Through the years of work that I've done as a medium, I found that there is literally nothing to be afraid of. These spirits are loving and caring and compassionate. Are you going to come across some that are not love and light? Of course. You know, not everybody has the same life experiences. Some people die traumatically and they take that with them. But I've never been hurt by a spirit. I've never been scared by a spirit. I have never seen anything scary from a spirit. So if your question is, you know, like how to get past, like what do you do in that instance? It's really easy to say, it's a little bit harder to do. And so the only thing that really helped me get out of this was to stop being afraid. And you have to take little steps. Like I said, I would watch TV to go to sleep. I would have the lights on all night. Sometimes I would have like ambient sounds so I couldn't hear anything other than the sound. And I'm somebody that I have to sleep in complete darkness, no sound, no TV. So I had completely changed my sleeping pattern because I was so afraid. And once I stopped being afraid, it took a while. I'm not going to even exaggerate. It took a while. That fear completely went away. I wasn't afraid anymore. If I saw a spirit, it didn't scare me. If I heard a spirit, I was like, okay, it's time for bed. I can't talk now, right? Instead of being scared. So if you can move yourself to a space of not being afraid, to a space of acceptance and boundaries with spirit, you're going to be so much better off. For me, when you have fear, I feel like it attracts those things that you're fearful of. I feel like it attracts them to you, okay? So when you stop fearing them, it doesn't bring those things to you anymore. And like I said, you can set that boundary. I've had spirits come to me at night to talk to me, and I'll say, you know what, it's bedtime, or I'm with my family. No, and those boundaries work. So if that's part of your question, I hope. If not, comment down below and I can answer it in a different way. Let's see, how do you do readings if you know the sitter and the person in spirit? Not quite sure where you're going with this question either, but let me try. So it is a lot more difficult to read for somebody that you know, or to read for somebody that you know in spirit, because your ego kind of gets in the way. The things that you know kind of get in the way. The memories that you've made with this person, either the client or the person in spirit, kind of get mixed into things. It is a lot easier to read for somebody that you don't know. Now, that's not to say that it's impossible, because of course you can read for people no matter whether you know them or not. It's just a matter of knowing if the information is coming from spirit or coming from you. In my mediumship development course, I have a whole lesson on learning and distinguishing the difference between your thoughts and memories and the evidence and information coming from someone in spirit. This is something that I built into my mediumship course because I saw that there was a great need for this, because it is very hard to distinguish your mind and your memories and your ego from what spirit is sending to you, what spirit is giving to you. So there is techniques that you can do in order to help yourself distinguish between the two. I teach those in my mediumship development course, but the best way that you're going to be able to do that is to just practice, to learn as much as you can, practice as much as you can, write things down as they come to you and reference back to those things. Okay, so I felt this, and that was my own thought. I felt this, and the sitter said, yes, that's what this person would have said or done. Write everything down, what you got, how you got it, how you felt about it when you received it, and you're going to be able to reference back in your notes to see where you got things right. Okay, is it okay to close your eyes when giving a mediumship reading? I love this question. So for me as a medium, and me as someone who teaches mediumship to others, my stance is, if it works for you, that's what you do. If it makes you happy, if it makes your mediumship work better, if it makes you feel more confident, then that's what you do. You close your eyes. I've come across so many other mediums and mediumship teachers that tell you that closing your eyes is not professional, it doesn't look good, you shouldn't do that. I personally believe that we shouldn't be setting restrictions or boundaries on ourselves in terms of what other people tell us we should be doing. So if closing your eyes makes you see the visualizations more, if it calms your mind more so you can receive the information, perfect. That's totally perfect. Just explain that to your client. Say, the way I work is through closing my eyes and receiving the information. Every medium is going to work differently. Every medium is going to receive information differently. So what I try to teach my students and what I want all of you to know is that whatever makes your mediumship work for you is what you are going to do, not what other mediums are telling you is the right or the wrong way. They are not you, and they don't know how you work. So finding what works for you, and if that is closing your eyes through an entire 30-minute session, close your eyes. As long as your client understands and accepts that, there's nothing wrong with having your eyes closed during a session. Let me know how you think about that answer, because I know a lot of other mediums say don't do that, that it's unprofessional, but I firmly believe in doing what works best for your mediumship. When you are doing a reading, do you mentally ask spirit questions, or are you waiting to sense what they send your way? This is a great question. So I actually do both. I prefer to let spirit give me all the messages and information first before I ask any questions or try to follow up with anything. I like to have spirit give me everything, right away, however they see fit. And then if there's something I don't understand, I will go back and I will ask spirit, can you clarify this? Or I didn't understand this, or can you give this to me in a different way? Maybe they gave it to me visually and I need to hear it, right? So I like to let spirit do the talking, so to speak, and give me the information first before I start, okay, well, what's this? What's that? Can you tell me this? Can you tell me that? Then at the very end of my readings, I like to let my clients ask some questions, or maybe they wanted to know something specific that hadn't come through in the reading, and I will go back to spirit and ask. So it's completely okay to ask spirit questions. Absolutely. They're here to communicate with their family. They're here to communicate with their friends, and you as the medium are their opportunity to do that. And so they welcome questions. Now, I prefer to let them speak first, then ask the questions, because I want to get the information as organically as I can. And when I start thinking to ask questions, it kind of loses the flow of things. So that's why I like to ask questions at the end. But if it works for you to ask a question at the beginning, in the middle, at the end, between every sentence, it's completely okay to ask questions however it works best in your mediumship. Those are all the questions I have for today. I will be doing a part 5 very soon because I have some more to answer. I don't want to make the video too long, so hopefully I will see you in that next video. If you're interested in mediumship development, I do offer a course where I teach students how to use all of the information that I answered in this video today, plus so much more, to develop their skills and abilities to become a medium. If you're interested in that, the link is down below. And my lovely friend, thank you so much. I'll see you in the next video.